she texted me and she's like, hey, do you want to do a podcast for like a month or something where we talk about, it's the new season of Real Housewives Beverly Hills. Let's just talk about it to ourselves and our friends and no one will listen.
No one will listen.
Luckily, Paul Scheer had said, like, I'll put you in the feed for our very successful podcast, How Did This Get Made, which was so generous of them. And because of that, it started to just kind of take off.
That's Casey Wilson and Danielle Schneider, and this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast. Hey guys, I'm your host, Cara Duffy, and this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast, where I invite my favorite humans, the awesome, the up to something, and the extraordinary to come and share their story. I hope that you'll be left entertained, inspired, and moved to take action towards living your most powerful life. You've seen today's guests, Casey Wilson and Danielle Schneider, co-hosts of the podcast Bitch Sesh, a Real Housewives Breakdown, and as actresses on many of your favorite TV shows and movies, including starring most recently in Black Mondays, playing Tiff and Deb. You've also seen their incredible work as writers, producers, comedians, directors, and showrunners. Literally all of your favorite TV shows and movies have a credit given to them. From Bride Wars, Saturday Night Live, The League, Marry Me, Blackish, How I Met Your Mother, Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2, and of course, Hot Wives. Forget Kevin Bacon, everyone in Hollywood is 1 degree away from Casey and Danielle. Get ready to laugh out loud as we discuss the power of having a creative partner, they each have 2, why Real Housewives cures everything, and how powerful ladies support each other to the grave. All that and so much more coming up, but first. Being an entrepreneur or a small business owner is hard, but the good news is it's much easier when you have a coach and a community. The Powerful Ladies online community gives you both. It's where powerful ladies and powerful entrepreneurs from around the world discover clarity, produce results, and experience success at new levels. Because together we thrive. As a member, you get access to master a new skill for business every month, network, brainstorm, and collaborate with like-minded women, get access to Powerful Ladies events, our library, resources, and more. Participate in group coaching and workshops led by a multipreneur business coach. And you get the accountability and inspiration to stay on track and make it happen. Join today at thepowerfulladies.com. Well, oh my goodness, ladies. Welcome to the Powerful Ladies Podcast.
Thank you for having us. We're feeling very powerful.
Hello.
Hello. Well, I am so glad that we finally made this happen. This is very common, right? This whole show is powerful ladies who are awesome and up to something and busy and basically don't know how we actually juggle all the things we do. So it's so common to be like, and reschedule and move, but we got here. That's what's important.
We got here.
I don't think I've ever not had to reschedule everything. Like
right, like your whole life.
It's like, okay, that's the date that it's scheduled. It's going to happen. I don't remember that in the recent history of my life.
No, not at all. Not at all. I would love to begin by telling the audience who you are and what you're up to, and we'll just start there. Mm-hmm.
Great. Mm-hmm. Danielle?
Oh, me, Tang. Oh,
sure. Mm-hmm.
I was like, sure, I'd love to hear what I'm up to. Hi, I'm Danielle Schneider.
Should we introduce each other?
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's
okay.
great. And that right there is Casey Rose Wilson, Catherine Rose Wilson Casp. Many names. She goes by many names for her many talents. She is a actress, writer, producer, director.
Thank you.
Podcaster, mother, wife, friend, seer, doer.
Sexual being.
And all around kick-ass human being. And I love her to pieces.
Oh, thank you, Danielle. And Danielle's a friend. No,
barely.
Danielle Caroline Schneider,
Ooh, wow.
hails from Atlanta and then Florida.
Sadly.
Is first of all, wonderful, sweet person. There's no nicer person in the world. And she is an actress, a writer, a producer, a showrunner. Maybe you've heard of Hot Wives of Orlando and then Las Vegas, a take on the Real Housewives, which she was the showrunner and creator of with her friend Donna Fineglass, and written on so many series. Maybe you've heard of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Black Monday, Marry Me, a couple of which I've starred in, which is blessed and blessed. And a wonderful, wonderful person, hilarious, hilarious comedian and mother, wife, sexual being.
It's very, very sexual. Please, I wish you had started with that, but I don't want to critique.
Yeah, we can't critique.
You end with the best part, right?
Yes,
the most meaningful part.
Yeah, the thing that I really feel like envelops who I am as a being.
Yeah. And I'm going to add one more hyphen, if I may.
To you or me?
Before you begin. To myself.
Okay, sorry.
That exists during the quarantine, which is addict. And I don't make light. I am looking for a treatment center, I'm sure. No, I'm just kidding. These are hard times right now. And I think we're all clinging to what we can.
Yeah, it's interesting because as Casey knows, I wasn't a big drinker before. Mostly my thing was antidepressants. And that was my jam. But since the quarantine, I have realized that I could keep up and really and keep it down. And just have a tumbler by my bedside nightly.
But you've also continued to lean into your antidepressants.
Oh, yes. I go, as Casey says, when in doubt, go up, up, up.
And I'm sorry you asked one question and we've gone on for
many. But yes,
minutes.
We're powerful women.
Yes, you are. How did you guys meet each other? Because I've read that you mentioned also earlier, you guys both have like creative partners that are also very fancy, powerful ladies. And then you have each other. So I would love to hear about you guys and your creative partners. And then also
we're each other's
you guys
B
as
squad.
The farm team.
The minors.
Yeah, call her up.
League.
Call her up. Big ones can't come in. Call her up.
Gosh, where did we meet Danielle? Through the UCB Theater, the Upright Citizens Brigade.
I know. You always tell a story how you saw me making out with my now husband.
That was my first image of Danielle. Well, first you had done stand-up, which was wonderful. And I was thinking, gosh, I don't know this person. And I think you may have lived in LA at that point.
Yes.
And I lived in New York, and I was doing a 2-woman show with June Diane Raphael, who is my creative partner. And
A-team.
A-squad. She's the real money and gold. And then I thought, gosh, this girl's so funny, and you had such funny stand-up. And then the next thing I know, you're backstage like voraciously making out with your husband, Matt Besser, who runs the UCB Theater. So I thought, wow.
Scandal.
I came to learn you guys had been together for a long time, which also kind of like rattled me to my core.
Like, how could we still manage to kiss each other?
Yeah, like how did you manage to feel anything for each other? And that was, then I really got to know you when I moved to New York, and you and your creative. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. And you and your creative partner, Donna Fineglass, were doing a 2-woman show.
Yes.
And June and I were in the audience watching you two kind of like set up your show and do a tech. And June and I watched you two work, and the way you were so kind to each other, we turned to each other. We're both animals, and we're like, wow, we didn't know we could be friendly.
Kind, thoughtful.
Yeah. So I think, and then we both love The Housewives.
Yeah. And we sort of bonded over that. I remember I had heard about Casey because we were kind of always, my husband, who's theater, the UCB, is like, was always kind of, he was still trying to like run it from both coasts in some ways years ago. And so he was always kind of telling me about the new talent or who was here. And he was like, these 2 women are really great. Everyone's talking about them. And they came to town, and we were supposed to share kind of a slot with you in June. And, I do think there's this tendency, or there was a tendency in myself, to think like, oh my God, these other really funny, cool women are coming and they're so good. And what does that mean for me? You know what I mean? Like, I think it used to feel to me like there's only one spot, and that's the spot that's going to get taken. But I saw Casey and June, and I was like, they're so funny. They're so good. They're so smart. I just want to be friends with them. Like, it sort of turned my head around in the sense of like, oh no, you can't beat them, join them. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's
don't
so
even
nice.
try. And it was one of the most rewarding things that have happened, because Casey and her partner June have become 2 of my very closest sister friends. And so that's how I met them. But I saw them perform and I was like, they're stars. So got to get in their orbit.
Well, and you guys have done so many amazing projects individually together with your creative partners. And, to now be on, hosting the Bitch Sesh podcast. Why did you pick a tongue twister for a name of your podcast?
No, it's been a regret. It's a regret.
Yeah, it's not good.
What was it about Real Housewives that you were like, I know our next career path is talking about this show?
We have to tackle this important topic.
We didn't know. In truly strange fashion, like, it's just something that bonded us. We like to talk about these hilarious women. Like, they were so funny and so big and older than most of the people you see on TV and not as likable, quote unquote, as the people you see on TV.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, we were just drawn to them. And so we found ourselves like always just texting each other, us and our other friends, of just like how crazy this last episode was. It was like, these were our weird friends that we could talk about behind their back and no one got hurt. And then Casey, when she, and Casey had created a show called The Realest Real Housewives, where we all just like read from the text of the real, like the actual words of the housewives. And that had been really funny and gone over really well. And then when Casey had her first child, she texted me one day and she was kind of on maternity leave, as much as
a woman can be
and
in today's world.
Yes. And she texted me and she's like, hey, do you want to do a podcast for like a month or something where we talk about, it's the new season of Real Housewives Beverly Hills. Let's just talk about it to ourselves and our friends, and no one will listen.
No one will listen.
No one will pay. Like, it'll just be us and like our three friends who we text. And then it sort of became like, luckily, Paul and June and Jason Mantzoukas put us in their feed. Paul Scheer had said, like, I'll put you in the feed for our very successful podcast, How Did This Get Made? Which was so generous of them. And because of that, it started to just kind of take off.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, I think I would love to jump into what you guys think of the phrase powerful ladies. And then I want to bring it back to, based on your definition of what a powerful lady is, how does that relate to the women you know in your day-to-day life versus the women on Real Housewives?
The same.
The exact same. Gosh, what a question. I mean, I will say, it's interesting because when I was thinking about doing your podcast and I was thinking of the title and kind of the notion of like, gosh, how did we get here? And I'll speak for myself, Danielle, but I do think, and this is certainly kind of what's bubbling up in our world, not even bubbling, like we're being confronted with in the world right now, which is this notion of like white privilege. And I think I have admittedly, in the same way Danielle's saying, like, sometimes I would be threatened by other women. Like, I've kind of held on to this belief of like, I got here because of my hard work. Like, I persevere and I finish things and I'm not afraid to, put myself out there and I don't take no, and all of these things that, are so valued in our society. And just recently, I just kind of being candid here, I've been doing this workbook about kind of, my white privilege, and my eyes are quite opened to the fact that, my grandmother paid for college. I didn't have to work a second job. I took an internship in a theater in Louisville, like a really great theater, because I wasn't paid, but I was able to do it, and so on and so forth. And so in some ways, the only reason I'm saying this is because, like, yes, do I have talent? I have a ton.
In spades.
There's no one can take that away.
We can
from
quantify
me.
this, Casey. Let's not try.
Yeah, like I'm so talented, but I will say I have found, at least in terms of where I've gotten it, to be a combination of the two, and so I just want to say that up top. But I think in a way, like when I see all my friends of all, I do think at least the people we know, Danielle, I'll say, like, they are all powerful. And I think all moms are powerful. I just think in today's world, every person and every woman is truly like trying their best to do the most that they can. And so I just in general have such respect for like our times are moving so fast.
Yes.
So I don't even know if I'm answering your question, but I just generally feel in this day and age, like every woman is trying their best to do the best they can at everything, which is a big ask.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I'm incredibly powerful. Go on, Danielle. Your answer?
Yeah, I mean, Casey makes a good point. I, of course, did everything myself. Nobody helped me. No, I've been incredibly lucky and fortunate and privileged beyond belief, because I too have had help along the way in so many ways, and becoming more and more aware of that in order to be quote unquote powerful, both society and friends and spouses and coworkers, a lot of people have to lift you.
And connections.
You can't be it by yourself. But I will say, No,
I was just going to say, and connections is a big thing I've been thinking about a lot lately, because I've always kind of been like, I naturally I'm social and I make connections with people, but you have to kind of be put in those spheres in order to have those connections. And again, I am likable. And
again, we cannot quantify that. Let's not try. It's called the X factor.
Yeah. And I think, for anyone to succeed in any career, whatever it is, you do have to do the work, and you have to be good at it. And I think, but yes, go on, Danielle.
I was going to also say, just on that same thing, it's like, but being powerful is also really lifting others to be secure in yourself and realize that a rising, tide lifts all ships. And that is something I've definitely found out through my career.
Yeah.
Is that lifting other people lifts you. Mm-hmm. Help other people, befriend other people. And so I think, and because of the people that have helped me, I have been able to help other people. Yeah. And so I think that is, being able to help others and show others the way. And not that I couldn't be doing more. There's always more I can be doing. And I've been thinking about that definitely a lot more lately, putting not having to be asked to help, but reaching my hand to help when no one's asked. But I do think the more you can do that, the more powerful you are.
Yeah. One of our kind of sub slogans of Powerful Ladies is full circle empowerment, right? How does the boss lady help the woman rising, who's helping the woman just looking for empowerment? And I think all of us know, who have been in, powerful lady, boss lady situations, how inspired we can get from the woman who appears from our perspective to be starting at the bottom. It's so inspiring and humbling to see just how hard everyone is working, and the hope, and I don't know where I'm going yet, but I'm going. And it's yes, we don't know what we're doing either. Come along.
Yeah. And I think it's only a bit when you're older that you can say it's okay to not know where you're going, because when it's happening to you, you're just oh my God, how is this life going to amount to anything? How are these puzzle pieces going to kind of come together? And the truth is, I'm definitely a spiritual person, and I'm a everything happens for a reason person, for good or bad. And I do think the path is kind of what your path is, and questions that you have get answered kind of further down the road in a way. And but it doesn't ever help to tell anyone that. Younger people, because you're no.
I have such a clear memory of being I want to say 21 or 22, and being at this bar in the East Village. Casey, you probably remember it. I think it was called Nevada Smith's.
Oh boy.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh boy.
A real NYU hangout.
Yeah.
And I was so sure of myself. I was in college for acting. That's going to be a huge success. And I just, I had all this surety. Of course I'm going to be a Broadway star. I had no roadmap or everything. But then I remember getting kind of wasted, and then having this moment of clarity where I looked around and saw,
as we always have when we're wasted.
Do when we're drunk, seeing all these friends and all these people from school that I was with, and I was really they have the same dream as me, and not all of us are going to make it, and none of us are going to know how to do it, and this is fucked. Remember being this is crazy. What are you doing? Why do you think you can do this? All these people have these dreams, and they're so good. And who do you? And you don't know how to do this. You don't know anybody in the business. You're fucked. and being like, and like having that like moment, and then it went away, and I still just like moved forward in a direction I didn't know how I was going to do it. But I just I have such a clear moment of like that, like panic setting in. And then if I could then see that person now, what was it, 5 years later, because I'm 25, is that like, oh, like, you know, like hopefully, you know, you worked hard and you were very lucky, and
it is hard work. I think, you know, finishing things is harder than starting them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And finishers, I do think you are rewarded, you know.
It's
A
how long
lot
you
of
can
people
stay in
have
the
big
game.
ideas, but and I think you have to be tough. And I think my, like, not that you're asking totally, but like my greatest advice to everyone, and again, this is something that is a luxury, but if you could beg, borrow, or steal your way to get some therapy, I think at a young age even, because to keep yourself mentally and emotionally fit, to me, is how you kind of don't throw your craziness on other people. You keep yourself kind of, I don't know, mental, just well enough. People want to work with normal people. They want to, frankly, be around people who are centered. And I don't know, for me, everyone's always like, oh, and I know this isn't about acting, but like, how do I get a part, and how do I this, and how do I audition? And I'm always like, go to therapy. And it tracks actually, because I just think the more kind of well you are, the more you attract great people around you, and et cetera, et cetera.
For sure. And there's, I think what people, like, you need to be well on all levels, because like you kind of mentioned, when you do start something, it looks like you have to just climb this one hill. You're like, it's right there, I can do it. And then you get up there and you realize, oh wait, there's another hill. We're not done yet. And like, I really think that's the part that no one talks enough about. Like, just start. And you're like, you're going to get to the top and go, oh shit, we haven't even started yet. Keep going.
And so many times I'm like, because I used to waitress and for years, oh my God, and hostess and all this stuff, just longer than a human should and could physically do it. But I did it for many, many years. And I would get a job and be like, well, fuck you, I'm out of here, bullshit job. And it was like, and then that job would end, and it was like, oh no, I have to go back to like, so many times I would think I'm like over the hump and I'm now starting my life. And it was always like, no, this is your life. Like, and so then you just have to realize like, oh, like, what do I want to do? Like what you start to hone in and drill down on, like, oh no, what is the thing I'm good at that would also make me happy? Because I also think finding happiness from what you do is so important, because you're not going to get it from the outside. So it truly has to make you happy. Otherwise, don't fucking do it.
Yeah. And go ahead.
No, please.
I was just going to say, hearing you say like drilling down on what your kind of thing is and honing it is, I read this book about, God, it's called, I'm going to get the amount of hours wrong. It's however many hours are in a week. That's what it's called.
40.
Oh, yeah. Maybe, if that's what you think, sure.
Yeah.
And this woman did these time logs of 1,000 women, and women trying to just work and do it all, and kind of finding more time. You know, time is our most precious resource at the end of the day. And her advice, which I have taken, is her name's Laura Vanderkam, and she does a podcast that I listen to, which is so nerdy. It's called Before Breakfast, which are like organizational tips for your life and how to kind of
right up my alley
together. I literally, it's like an orgasm when I listen to it, you know, she's like how to multitask in a way that actually works, and how to, you know, create your schedule ahead of time. It's amazing. But her whole thing is leaning into your, what she calls core competencies, which is like, let things go that you're not good at. And it's not even about like, yes, of course, there's a version of, if you can afford to have someone do something for you, great. But it's more just like, you don't need to spend time trying to learn X or just proving to yourself that you're good at something that you don't like or doesn't take your time. It's like literally whittle your life down to family, friends, core competencies, done.
Yeah.
And it is kind of freeing. It's like,
it really is freeing.
I'm going to do just what I am good at.
Yeah.
I'm excellent at, and everything else is gone.
It's true, because you, at some point in your life, you'll have to start saying no to things. I think especially as your job gets busier and becoming a parent really made me have to say no to things. And I'm a person
Mm-hmm.
that has been conditioned to say yes to everything and anything, especially when it comes in the form of an opportunity, because I want to work. I'm a workhorse, and that is for sure. But nothing's good if I can't. So I really had to just go, like, even if it just takes my mental space, like not my physical space, but like that thing, that job, that audition, whatever, that's going to take so much of my mental space. Like, what do I want to use that mental space for? Do I want to be preparing for that thing? Or do I just want to have that time with my daughter and connect with her? Or, you know what I mean? And so like, but saying no is hard. So it is like drilling down on like, what's going to make me happy?
What's essential?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, as when I'm working with clients, I'm a business coach in addition to running Powerful Ladies. And all the time, like business owners come to me and they're like, I have this dream. It's not working. We're not. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, how are you spending your time? Most people they built a beautiful company and then put themselves in their least favorite position. I'm like, why did you do that?
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. And I'm like, no. Like, let's delegate. What do you actually want to do? And people seem to be so afraid to like follow the path of fun because we've totally separated that success and abundance can be related to fun. And I mean, that's another dialogue that I would love to see pivot. But I mean, when I look at the work that you guys have done, it seems like from the outside looking in, it's like, ooh, that looks fun. They're fun. And like you kind of keep following this breadcrumb of fun. Is that how it occurred to you in the moment? Or is that, is that in hindsight that you can kind of see where you followed what seemed more fun?
I will say about this podcast that Casey and I do, like that is to me pure fun.
Yeah.
Like it's something and not that we don't work hard, we work our butts off. We want to make a good show. And so we are always trying to try new things and do fun things and watch a lot of reality TV and all this stuff, which does take time. But I have so much fun doing it.
It is so stupid.
It's so stupid. But it is, nothing is more fun. So when you talk about like, do your passion or whatever, like I did not see this part being something that we could actually do and make a living doing this and stuff like that.
Yes, because I'm echoing you only to say that I have worked on projects that have taken me 5 years that never come to fruition, or that I spend every second and they're so difficult and I follow it up the hill and I write the screenplay that never goes anywhere, or I do these things that take and I'm like, I'm not having fun. I hate this. Then we do something that is so purely fun that we were going to do for 1 month. That honestly has been one of the biggest things I've ever done. And who could have known that? But it did start from like, let's just have fun. Let's do something that we're not getting noted on by men at, a network. And
telling us what they think is
funny. And it's been such freedom and just, following the fun. And to go back quickly to your point about delegating, I'm going to say something that is a lot of people find very wild, which is that, brace yourselves, I was an assistant for many years. That was my job of kind of like a personal assistant in New York. And I had an assistant while I was an assistant.
Yes. That is an Oprah boss move right there. That's what that is.
I'll just let that sit and let everybody soak that one up. It's bold.
It is, but you know what? Got you where you are.
Hey, baby.
No, why wouldn't
I
you?
have not only weaknesses in the area of organization, like beyond weaknesses. Like it is so not my thing. And I started to realize, at least for my career, you think it's all about like acting and writing and doing your creativity. And I realized, oh my God, no, there's a whole business side to this that I mean, you saw how long I struggled to even like be recorded on this podcast because I don't understand these things. And I realized like I need help. And that's the other thing is I will say for myself, I am always open to asking for help. If I don't know something, boom, I say, I need help. Someone help me. Like, and I seek it out, and I'm never going to pretend I know something I don't know. I'm just like, someone help me and I will move from there. But I have no ego about that. I feel like that's the only way forward. And there's so much we don't know.
Yeah. It's the same reason why having a don't list is as important as having a to-do list, right?
Oh, what's a don't list?
Oh, all the things you're not going to do, either because, as you said earlier, they're not in your strengths, or Like it's completely unnecessary. Like it takes you away from all the things that you're really here to be a contribution for.
Can I hear some
Yeah.
don'ts?
Oh yeah. Well, like doing your own laundry or cleaning your house, like easy don'ts, your own yard work. It can really be anything that you can come up with. And like people always think it's like, especially if they're a small business, like how can I not do all the things? I'm like, just like you had an assistant as an assistant. It's like, if you can pay someone less than you can make in an hour doing something else instead, why would you keep doing it? Like just mathematically, it doesn't make sense.
And also, I think like there can be emotional don'ts, which is like, I don't make one plan on a Sunday night. I'm with my kids. That's it. And I like this.
Yeah, me too.
It can be people. It can be,
people.
Oh, I got some don'ts.
I got some
real don'ts.
I got a lot of don'ts.
Right on this Zoom, I got some don'ts.
No, I'm seeing a couple don'ts on this Zoom. Kidding. You're all do's.
Big old do's.
I feel like that's a card I want to hand out to people. Like, don't even talk to me. Here's your don't card. Like,
don't.
No.
Don't start.
That's what my daughter, little kids do that the best. I remember my daughter, like when just an adult was like too much for her, she'd just be like, no.
No.
And it was so, and people were so like, they would be like, ah, and she'd just be like, no. Just like,
what a hero.
I know. It was so like, I wish I had
unencumbered by social graces.
No, still to this day, she'll just be like, nope.
She needs to teach a boundaries class.
She's never said that.
Oh, she loves you. She sure loves you.
When you look at the women that you've risen with and the women who inspired you along your path, how influential have women, girlfriends, and having those connections, especially within the industry, mean to you? And what could you have done? Like if you didn't have those relationships, where do you think you would be otherwise?
I mean, my relationships have been everything. Everything, every job I've gotten, every way to act, how to be, I have gotten from other women. They have taught me how to be graceful, how to be thankful, how to be powerful, how to say no, how to stand up. Because I don't think that I do that naturally. I think I'm a little more like, oh, I'll just do what you say. But I've looked at Casey and June and Jess and so many of our other good friends. And they have really taught me how to be. And that's just in like my actor kind of community, but even in just like the writing rooms I've been in, I've looked at the women who aren't even older than me. Like I'm talking about women who are younger than me, but they just have something about them that I look up to. And I see that their path so clearly, or the way that they take charge, or the way that they are afraid and still move forward. I've just been so inspired. Like, I feel like I've been taught everything. I'm like one of those animal, or like Nell in the woods, you know what I mean? Who like comes out and is just like, has to learn to like speak like a human, like raised by wolves. Like, that's what I felt like before I had these examples of people, like of ways to act and be, both as an artist and a person. Because I don't know what happened in my growing years. So was still in the woods.
Was Nell played by Jodie Foster or Claire Danes?
I mean, unclear.
I think both, right?
Both.
Okay.
It was a dual role.
I literally can't remember, and I see them both so vividly in the role.
I mean, they both could have been, but I believe it was Jodie Foster, but it might as well have been. But yes, I'd still be in the woods or in Florida. Same difference. And be like, I don't know, I'd be working. I'd always be working, but I'd probably be like, I don't know, like doing one of those like jewelry things where you like, it's kind of a pyramid scheme. Like, and I'd be on the top of the pyramid, I think, but I don't think I'd be very happy. I'd be in the middle of the pyramid. It wouldn't be high
on the top.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I would have had the wherewithal. So that's where
without your ladies. Yeah.
I feel the same. I do. But you know, Danielle, you're like the best and the worst of Florida. And I'm staying silent, but all my family's from Florida too. When you say you're from Florida, I'm like, ba, 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 ba. Meanwhile, everyone. I mean, I was born in outside DC. I like to say, but Virginia. But I think, Danielle, you're the best and worst of Florida.
It's true. I'm trashy, but
in one person.
You know what? That is me. It's true.
You're like classy trashy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't eat a fruit if it's like not from a can, but like.
But you're like also incredibly elegant.
Yeah, I'm understated in my style. Mm-hmm. But then you'll see me in like a cut off pair of jean shorts and like a fluorescent bikini top, and you're like, "What's happening?" Yeah. I'm like, Florida.
I have been like, "Ooh, Florida showed up today."
Yeah, like every once in a while, like, especially like at the beach. Florida,
at the beach, I feel like that's when Florida takes hold.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
No, it is great.
What do you think has been the best piece of advice you've been given, and what's been the dumbest piece of advice you've been given that you can remember?
Oh my God. Dumbest piece of advice I've ever been given. I think it was advice. June, my creative partner, and I, we wrote this movie Bride Wars. And when we were pitching the movie to the studio or something in the very beginning, we'd never written anything in our lives. And we were like so eager. And we were with this like producer who we actually came to love, but he was like old school. Like I'm talking in his 70s, like tanned within an inch of his life, had been there, done that. And we were like, oh my gosh. And we lived with a couple other girls. We shared a car in LA. Like we were just didn't know what was happening. And we're in the elevator about to go up to pitch the movie. And he was like talking about his pool. And we were like, pool? Oh my God. Like we know someone with a pool. We did not know one soul with a pool. So I was like, oh, I'd love to get at that pool. Like that would be great. And June's like, we'd love to come over this weekend and go to your pool. And then he says completely genuinely, oh, ladies, if this pitch doesn't go well, we'll never see each other again. So it wasn't necessarily advice as it was a like, oh, this is what this business is.
It's not show friends.
No. We never saw that pool, even though the movie got made. Go on, Danielle.
Worst piece of advice, not advice, but just kind of a thing that a member of my family said to me, and this isn't long ago. I had some success as a writer, some stuff bought. I wasn't, buying a house or anything yet, but I had some yeses, which feel really hard to get. But I hadn't like made a name for myself or a real career for myself. And a relative of mine said, I know you've been doing this in a while, but are we done? Are we done?
Oh,
like we've done it, right? We tried. Good. We're done, right? And I remember being like, what? Like, no, I'm not done. Why am I done?
Yeah.
But, it just makes you doubt yourself. Like, oh, you're right. Like, when this person who's supposed to love you and be your family is telling you you're done, it's so upsetting, especially because I think I was in my early 30s and had felt like I'd made some progress. It wasn't huge, but it felt like something. And so that was bad.
Did that reinvigorate you? Were you like, I'm going to show her?
No, I think I just blocked it out for a minute. I was just like so hurt. I was so hurt.
Yeah.
That it really downed me. I mean, it didn't, but I was like, I don't know what else to do. Like, this is all
You're irrepressible though.
It's just like, I don't know what else. So I'm just going to move forward because I don't know what other direction to go. That was probably the worst piece of advice. What was your best advice, Case?
I think I've had very quickly two best advices. One was celebrate your wins, which is like, there's just so much tough things that happen. This life is so hard. And so like, even if you have, like you were saying, Danielle, like little yeses along the way, celebrate them, have a glass of wine, like toast, like, cause who knows next week what's happening, And so that also is just like kind of for me, keeps me going and like appreciative and grateful. And then the other piece of advice is much stranger. I used to go and see former presidential candidate Marianne Williamson, who is a spiritual leader. Years and years and years ago, before I had really done much, she used to speak and guide meditations and things like that for free. And I went and then just and sorry if you've heard this so many times, Danielle, but a random stranger at the door as I walked in, I don't know if she was a volunteer. I don't know who she was.
Mm-hmm.
As I walked in, just said to me, expect a miracle. And I was like, what? And then I started like living by it. I put it on bumper stickers for my friends, like half jokey, but truly it's not like ask for a miracle or pray for a miracle. It's so much more active. It's just like expect one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, it's coming. Okay. I'm already in it. It's already happening. Like expect it. Great things are coming, as opposed to kind of like, please let something happen for me. And it has really changed my life and kind of reframed a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
Those are so nice.
So from a stranger's mouth
to a bumper sticker.
Yeah. From an usher's mouth.
An usher who's being paid in food. Probably. My advice is a little more, it's not as beautiful, honestly. They're just kind of like practical things, but they've helped me. Someone said to me, give yourself a day to mourn any loss. Not like a life huge loss, but a business loss. Like that part you didn't get, that job you didn't get, that show you didn't get staffed on, whatever. Give yourself a day, and take that day, mourn that loss. You don't have to move on right away. Like if you wanted it, mourn that loss. You give yourself 24 hours and then
get your ass back up.
Get your ass back up. And so that I give myself that time because you do need the time to mourn it. As I've gotten older, I need less time with some things because I'm like, yeah, who cares?
I know, especially after I have kids, I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. So those times get shorter as you get older, I think. But to take that loss, feel it, and then get over it. Another a great piece of advice my father gave me so long ago, but I really take to heart is when you're fighting with anyone, spouse, work, friend, don't use sarcasm. Say what you want to say or don't say it, because sarcasm just leaves everybody angry and you never get out your point.
Mm-hmm.
So say your point. If you're angry about something, say it clearly. And that way you are heard, as opposed to sarcasm where like you are just an asshole and you don't get your point out and you make the other person mad just because you're being kind of a dick.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just two kind of like practical things that
all good advice. When you're having one of those bad days and you're mourning a loss, is there like, where do you go to like get back? Like do you just let yourself land, be horizontal, Netflix and chill? Do you have a movie you go to? Do you like run away? And especially with you guys with kids, like be like, all right, you and dad, peace out. I'm hiding at someone's house. Like, what do you do?
It's interesting. Sometimes I actually find is the word enervating where it gives you energy?
Invigorating?
Enervating?
I don't know the word, but remember last week you said Zenzi, and then I was like, that's not a real word. It's like
I think it is enervating. I will say, I actually find if it's a work loss, sometimes really nice to just drop into my kids and kind of be like, oh, this is actually where the like heartbeat of my life is. But often if it's if I have a fight with a friend and also some work losses, yes, I love to get horizontal. I love to get into the housewives. Honestly, that's why we have come to love them, because there is no greater balm than those monsters.
It's
yelling.
True.
Yeah.
There's something so relaxing about it.
Like
so it's so soothing to me. And that's shocking to people. But I will say the Housewives is a total, like, when I can't count on anything, I can count on them.
I have been with a friend whose parent passed suddenly, and I went over, and now we're in bed and I'm sleeping over, and it's like, put on the Housewives. Like that is the bridge to like, what do we do right now? It is. And it's why we do the podcast. And it's why I think, and I don't say this because of us, humbly, like so many people listen, because they are there for you, rain or shine, doing what they do. And they never change. They never change.
They never learn.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's comforting. Yeah.
So upsetting.
Went through something really tough in my life, and I literally could not watch TV. And I love TV.
Yeah.
Like I love it. I couldn't, but the only thing I could truly bear was the Housewives. So that, and then also not dropping into my kids, actually going the other way. Sometimes I'm like Sally Field and Soap Dish. Sometimes just take me to a mall.
Well, there's Florida coming There's Florida.
There she is.
You love a mall.
I love a
mall. I imagine you've been taking this Corona very, very.
Oh, it's been tough. I can't go to the Sherman Oaks Galleria. I don't know what to do with myself. But I do. I take myself to the mall. I'm not even buying anything except for maybe a Wetzel pretzel. But I'm just the smell.
I've gone to a Wetzel pretzel kiosk many a time with a loss and just sat there and eaten and cried.
Cinnamon sugar.
Cinnamon sugar. They're really.
Sometimes I just want the sample. I don't even want to pay for it. There's always a lovely gal standing there with them, some like small cinnamon sugar.
Oh, I need like the whole bag of like the little ones.
Oh, but you can go back a 55. few times and just pretend you're somebody else. You're like, oh, I didn't know. Like you just pretend. Put on a pair of sunglasses.
I didn't see you there.
Oh, maybe I'll try these. I haven't been here 3 other times today.
Yeah.
What are you excited about that is coming up next for you, personally or professionally?
Is anything coming? Is there a future?
A vaccine.
Yeah.
A vaccine.
Excited to continue the podcast because we're lucky enough to be able to do it at home. I'm writing a book that I'm turning in.
I'm so excited about your book, Casey.
It's just kind of comedic essays.
But I think people are going to, and it's not just comedic essays. It's deeper than that. And I think people are going to really love this. I think it's deeper and bigger than that. I'm excited.
Thank you. And I'm writing a movie and just trying to think about, will we ever act again, and trying to keep it tight and right here in the quarantine and do my best to get ready to get back out there. Danielle?
I am working on a show I'm finishing up on, which is really fun. I'm working for Casey's husband, David, on that, and that's been really fun. And then my writing partner and I are working on the show that we've been working on for a while, and
which I'm very excited about.
We're super excited about that, and it's something we're really passionate about, and it's fun to have something that's come from your heart that you're really passionate about and feel really strongly about, and you have such a vision for it. You know what it is. I feel like that happens so rarely in my life, where I know exactly what something is, and so that's exciting for me to really see something and see what it could be and look like and sound like and all that. So I'm excited about that. And then I don't know, my daughter's turning 7. That's exciting. She's becoming such a cool lady that it's fun that's exciting for me.
Yeah.
When you look back at 8-year-old self, would she have ever guessed what your life is like now?
Honestly, I think she'd be like disappointed I wasn't further. I was like hell on wheels. I was a little Leah Michelle running around the neighborhood. I mean, just being honest, like my dad had built me a stage in the backyard out of just like planks of wood, and I was directing neighborhood shows and firing and hiring and writing scripts and just telling people like, "You're out of here, you didn't learn your lines," and then taking their parts. And it was just my mom was trying to mediate. And so I think she'd be like Shania Twain, that don't impress me much.
I have a flash of her in like the whole cowgirl outfit singing.
Exactly.
She was, the way that person ran a studio, but not for long.
That's right. Yes, exactly. I remember my dad crouched in the garden, and I was like, we did Cats the sequel, and I wanted fireworks to go off to finish, and I'm like, turn them on! He was like, trying to get the fireworks to go off.
Jesus Christ.
I know, and I was charging neighbors. They had to bring their own lawn chairs.
I think I have 2 versions, because I think 8-year-old me just wanted to be a famous Broadway singer. And now that I know my talents, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I love singing, but I'm not a singer, and that's disheartening. 8-year-old me would have been disappointed to find that out. But so she would have been disappointed that I wasn't like, on stage.
You have a good voice, Danielle.
But I know, like when you hear like Laura Benanti, as we got to her closer, like, oh, that's a Broadway singer. I'm so misguided. Even in like my elder age, like when I was like, well, I'm not really a singer, but I can sell it. And then it was like, oh, no. But I do think, because sometimes I'll just stop myself. Like I remember being on the Paramount stages and being like, I'm fucking in the middle of Paramount and I work here? This is crazy. This is such a dream. Like, how did I get this dream? Like, all I ever want, I loved movies so much when I was a kid, movies and TV, and that, how do you make them? I used to watch like at 8 years old, like the behind the scenes of like Casablanca, you know what I mean? Like this old like Hollywood system was really interesting to me. And I read everything about them. So the fact that I get to like, you know, be on those same steps and get to work in a studio or movies and I get to write something and then someone acts it out, like it's a dream. It's a fucking dream. And so I'm very excited by that sometimes. So there's both those versions.
Mm-hmm. We ask everybody on the Powerful Ladies podcast where you put yourself on the Powerful Ladies scale, 0 being average everyday human, 10 being the most powerful lady that you can imagine. Where would you rank yourselves today and on average?
Oh my God.
That's a hard question.
Should we say our number at the same time, Danielle?
Okay.
Is this today?
Sure. Answer today first.
Oh God. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
6. Oh my God. Okay. I've never lacked for confidence.
I've never lacked for disbelief in myself.
Oh my God. And then on the normal day?
It was a 4 day. I think on a normal day, I can be a 6.
Yeah. And I can be an 8.
6. Yeah, I was going to say, you're an 8. I think you're powerful.
I'm kidding. I think I'm a 6 on a normal day too.
When have you felt like a 10?
In bed. Good night, everybody.
I don't know if I've ever felt like a 10.
10 days. I'm definitely a 10 days. I just don't remember one since quarantine.
Yep.
Just remember 1 days.
Well, I've had some of those.
Yeah. God.
Real recent.
I've had flashes of 10 in my life, but yeah.
Like sometimes when you get off stage
Yeah.
and you, like your kid's tucked into bed, you get off stage, you had a great show,
your kids are good.
Your kids are good, your husband's good, you made people laugh, you talked to your family. Like you have one of those days where you like checked all the boxes and feel great still, like, and still feel happy, like you didn't drain yourself and that you're still present in your day, like you gave yourself some priority too.
So rare, yeah.
Yeah, those are 10 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like sometimes there's days where you're just like, oh, I landed the plane. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
like
10.
Sully. I'm like Sully on the
Sully Sullenberger. Miracle on the
Pacific Ocean?
Yeah. Miracle on the LA River.
Miracle on the Bayou? Huh.
Well, as we're wrapping up today, I would love to just give you guys some space to share whatever you want with everyone listening, whether it's advice, a favorite quote, like books to read, a habit that you recommend everyone have, but just like final words for, whoever's up to being more powerful. What would you advise them on?
I would just say find people to do it with you. Don't do it alone. For me personally, the more the merrier. Lift other people. They'll help you. Look around for people that you like what they do. You like their vibe. You don't just, you think they're kind and you think they're smart and that they're good people, and attach yourself to them. Find things you can do together.
Mm-hmm.
Get an assistant while you're an assistant.
That might end up being your quote, right? All of our guests have a
put
quote.
Put it on my tombstone.
Please. Have your assistant put it on your tombstone.
Yeah, she'll chisel it.
Chisel it.
And then her assistant will come and clean up.
Yeah. And then you'll all be buried together as Tutankhamun buried all his... What
if I'm still alive?
Would you want one of those bells, like just in case?
I do. I've told so many people, like, please make sure I'm dead.
They have the science to figure it out now. That doesn't happen.
You know what? Not in today's world. We don't know what's going on and who's in charge, and make sure I'm dead.
All right. Hold the mirror up. Make sure it fogs up.
I actually do want to be buried just to in case.
I know that. I say burn,
little bell.
burn, baby, burn.
Oh.
It's just so costly.
And there again is our difference. Yeah.
You
I'm like, I want a
thing.
fucking mausoleum.
And I'm just like, burn me and leave me to the birds.
Danielle, it's too dark.
My goodness.
Did I ever tell you last? This is so insane to be sharing. It's so insane, but I will leave you off this.
Oh, good.
Did I ever tell you, Danielle, that when we buried my mom about 15 years ago, she was not cremated. Mm-hmm. And I got into this, you're in a crazy headspace. It happened so suddenly. I was like, I'm going to put a bunch of stuff in the coffin. I was putting outfits and purses and gum and cookies. And then right at the end, I put a bunch of cans of Coke.
This is so dark.
And then as I was driving away, I thought they're going to explode all over her bones.
Sorry, guys. So sad, Casey, and so beautiful too. It's just stuff she loves.
She just really liked Coke. And again, what if she?
And can I say that I love Coke, so I get that. I really.
So maybe I'll use that as your later fluid check.
Set me aside. I want Coke original. Don't give me Coke Zero. Or
no, I'll make sure it's the real thing.
I want the real thing. I want the real shit.
No, is that the powerful moves you wanted to be highlighted?
Yeah, is this Powerful Ladies podcast?
You guys are like, oh God, we're cutting that. What an end.
It's what I hear are powerful ladies supporting each other till the end.
Yes,
that is.
And beyond. And beyond.
And beyond.
And beyond.
Yes.
Infinity and beyond, as Buzz Lightyear says.
Yeah. Well, ladies, it has been a complete pleasure. Thank you for being a yes. Thank you for sharing your evening with us to record this. And thank you for sharing all your advice and great stories to everyone listening.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I am left crying and laughing, wondering who else has put food items into a casket after today's episode. These women are gems. I am so honored that they were on the podcast. You too can have this much fun if you follow their advice. Surround yourself with great people, create with your friends, do what brings you joy, and of course, lean in on whatever sounds ridiculous. To connect, support, and follow Casey and Danielle, you can of course check out their podcast, Bitch Sesh on Earwolf. And then you can follow them on Instagram at Danielle Caroline Schneider and at Casey Rose Wilson. They're also on Twitter at Danielle Stuff and at Casey Rose Wilson. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Powerful Ladies podcast. There are so many ways you can get involved and get supported with fellow powerful ladies. First, subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Powerful Ladies. Join the Powerful Ladies Thrive Collective. This is the place where powerful ladies connect, level up, and learn how to thrive in business and life. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page and, of course, visit our website, thepowerfulladies.com. I'd like to thank our producer, composer, and audio engineer, Jordan Duffy. Without her, this wouldn't be possible. You can follow her on Instagram at Jordan K. Duffy. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, I hope you're taking on being powerful in your life. Go be awesome and up to something you love.